My name's Branden. I'm a world traveler, foodie, and YouTuber. Together, you and I will find the best travel hacks, tips, and best places to explore. Join me as we find new adventures together, live only on IBM.TV. Hello, IBMTV. Good morning and welcome to the best of travel. My name's Branden, and today we're going to talk a little bit about travel agents. If you don't know me, I host Best of Travel here on IBMTV Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. PST. I also make YouTube videos online where I talk all about travel and give you some travel tips, some travel hacks, just some kind of general travel advice to make sure you're getting the most out of every single trip. You can head on over to my YouTube channel there and subscribe for great weekly content. Kind of keep you in the loop there with all the fun stuff going on in the world of travel, especially now with. So I'm gonna talk today a little bit about travel agents, what it means to find a travel agent, what travel agents can do for you, whether or not you need a travel agent or should use a travel agent. Just kind of give you a sense of the whole world of travel agents. It's a big crazy world out there, so it can be a lot to navigate, and that's what I'm here for, to help you navigate, help you get the best out of your next trip. If you're just joining the stream, feel free to shout out, say hey. You can join us at the IBM TV Facebook page, leave a comment on the stream, it'll pop up here on screen. You can also tweet at me at the Branden Scott if you want to, just kind of have a little bit of a little chat, little powwow. It'll be a good time. Travel questions. Of course, you want to check out my website or YouTube channel as well for some answers to some common travel questions. So here's the deal. Let's talk a little bit about travel agents. Let's talk a little bit about what a travel agent is and what they do and what they can do for you. Travel agents can be really useful tools to have in this kind of crazy world. So we're going to break this video down or this stream down into three parts. First, what is a travel agent? What are the pros of using a travel agent? And what are the cons of using a travel agent? So you can better answer the question, do you really need one? Do you need a travel agent? So let's start off with, what is a travel agent? Where did they come from? Why travel agents? Travel agents used to be really, really popular in the time before the internet. Before we could get on and Google where we wanted to go, we would have to visit a travel agency. You could either pick up the phone and call the airline or a city somewhere in the world and talk to them, or you could visit a travel agency worked with airlines, hotels, other tourism related businesses, so that if you wanted to go somewhere, you could call up your travel agent and say, hey, I want a trip, I want to go to the tropics. What do you have? And they would tell you their specials, their rates, kind of what the deal was, what they could book you, what trips they had going around that time, and kind of help you navigate that world. They would handle booking your flights, your hotels. Usually they would have activities to offer you. At your destination. So they could do a lot of things for you there. They had a lot of connections in the travel world. They had a lot of hotels that would, oftentimes have special deals and rates and discounts with them. And it was a nice life for a travel agent back in the kind of 80s, 90s, because hotels wanted that. Airlines wanted that. They would give travel agents special discounts to come visit them, to promote them, to share their brand with audiences, but also to send them clients, send them sales. So back in the day, before you would Google things, you'd pick up the phone, call your travel agent, or stop in at the local travel agency and go, "Hey, what do you have going? What's going on? I want to go somewhere." Or of course, you would have to pay them to do it. Now, some travel agents will charge like a fee. They'll have some sort of upcharge for using their service or fee or deposit. But what a lot of travel agents do is they'll work on commission, meaning that when they book your flight and your hotel, those hotels, those airlines are all paying your travel agent to send them the business. So They get a little bit of business there on the back end, a little bit of money there on the back end. Same thing with sightseeing tours, cooking classes, whatever it was. Those travel agents would make money there, or their big portion of money would come in from commission. So, the other kind of aspect of this is travel agents were big into group travel because that was a good way for them to send a lot of people to a spot and make a lot of money all at once. And it was easier because everybody all went together. So there were a lot of 10 days in Europe trips, and they would schedule 6 of them a year, and you kind of picked one. And there might have been 20 other people on your trip, and even if you weren't going with them, you might end up on a big tour bus with them at certain points to go to specific destinations or whatever they would arrange. So that's kind of the summary of travel agents. Fell a little bit out of favor, I think, in the internet era. They're not as common now. So they really from like 2003 really to the dot-com bubble in the late 90s, early 2000s. But really in kind of the early 2000s, they fell out of favor a lot because it was so much easier for you to arrange your own travel. You could literally get on Google and look up best places to see and get an idea of where you wanted to go and what that was going to look like for you. So it really became the internet put the power in the hands of the consumer in that way. So some travel agents were able to adjust and modify. You might have heard actually of some famous travel agents that are still around today that everybody still uses. Are you ready? I'm going to blow your mind. Booking.com, hotels.com, Expedia. These are travel agencies. They're just travel agencies that operate without a personal touch. They're big online robust systems. So when you go to a booking.com or and search for hotels and you're booking a hotel, that hotel is going to pay booking.com a commission. Same thing with airlines, car rentals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But other than that, the small mom and pop travel agencies, the brick and mortar travel agencies, all went out of favor, and they took a big hit. They took a big hit with that in the kind of .com bubble. It was one of those travel agents are one of those things that had a hard time surviving the internet era. And that's because you didn't need them anymore. You could plan your own trip, you could find your own discounts. So here's a little secret that the travel industry doesn't want you to know. Are you ready? Come in close. Are you listening? It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good, I promise. So the rates, if you go to AmericanAirlines.com or Delta.com or Hilton.com, and you look up a rate for a hotel, for a flight, for a trip, the rates that you're going to see online, though that's only one small percentage of the rates that they put out there. So a flight, for example, may cost you $400 if you go to AmericanAirlines.com and book it. They're publishing that $400 flight on their website, but they're also going to publish a $390 flight and a $430 flight on another website and a $350 flight for some travel agencies, to kind of fill up those seats to get people butts in seats, butts in the skies, to get people onto planes and into hotels. So travel agents oftentimes have access to a lot more rates than you can see on your end. Now, I will say, in the internet era, this is what changed. Is now we had access to a lot of those rates, so we could go on to an Orbitz, to Booking.com. We could go on to different websites and find some of those discounted rates. That really, really changed the game. And it put the power into the consumer's hands so they could book their own travel. So that became really popular. People were no longer taking their 10-day European vacation and instead were deciding, you know what, I can do this on my own. I'm just going to backpack across Europe for 4 months. You had a lot of 20-year-olds doing that. And you had at the same time a lot of adults and retirees who were starting to go, oh, well, I can just kind of plan and do what I want with that travel agency. I don't have to, limit myself to just their options. I don't have to keep to their itinerary. I can do whatever I want. So they started to fall a little bit out of favor. Now they're still around. Travel agents are still there, and they're still very popular in certain demographics, but certainly not as much as they used to be. So that's kind of a brief history of travel agents, and kind of their swing. I would say kind of went big dip and then kind of is hovering a little bit, in this era. Um, like I said, they're still out there. You can still find a travel agency. You're going to find them a lot for specialty trips. So travel agents, their kind of bread and butter now isn't that kind of 14 days in Latin America trip. Their bread and butter is going to be like a Disney package, helping you navigate which package of Disney World is going to be best for you. Or cruises are a big travel agency thing. Those kind of specialty trips, not your typical vacation. So they are still out there. So that's kind of the generic, um, the history of travel agencies, the history of the travel agent. So let's talk about some of the pros of using a travel agent. Some reasons of why you might want to consider using a travel agent. So first of all, sometimes you can get substantially better deals. I mean, substantially better. Because of, well, two things. Travel agents will oftentimes have access to discounted rates that you might not have access to online, no matter where you look. But they also are going to be booking bulk travel. So they're going to be booking a lot of travel with certain airlines, certain hotel brands. So they can oftentimes get you an even better rate than what might be the standard going rate for a travel agency, because maybe they're sending a specific Hilton property in Paris, 400 guests a year. So that property is going to give them a special lower rate than you can find anywhere else. So sometimes that's a really good deal. Sometimes you can find some really great discounts using a travel agency. Uh, the second big pro to having a travel agent, it's really, really comforting. Those people are your security blankets. Those people, the travel agents, are great to have because they're advocates. So, meaning if your flight gets delayed, or your hotel room, something goes wrong, your travel agent is just a phone call away. You can just call and say, I need something else, and they'll have it arranged for you at snap of a fingers. So that can be a really good perk of having a travel agent. A good travel agent, if you are in flight and your flight gets delayed, before your flight even lands, will have already sorted out what they're going to have you do. So by the time you land and have cell service, before you even get off the plane, you've got a text or an email saying, hey, your flight was delayed. This is what's happening now, and this is the gate you need to go to. And they can really be a good advocate for you that way. So that, I mean, it's super awesome to have that, right? Those are huge perks, and sometimes why it's really worth it to have a travel agent. Especially if you are inexperienced in travel or you want to be able to just relax and not have to coordinate your whole trip, because travel's a lot. Listen, y'all, I get it. I've traveled full time for like 4 years. Travel is a lot. You're online a lot. You're checking things a lot. You got to keep up with countries. Is it monsoon season? Is it their hot season? Is it their dry season? Can I travel there? What if I have a layover here? Well, then I can get a connecting flight here. And where's my gate? And it can be crazy. So it can be really helpful to have, just like an advocate, just a little friend on the ground who's looking out for you, who's keeping up with all of that. So they're really organized that way. I mean, heard stories of travel agents that, uh, you know, before you even call them, they realize that there's construction at the hotel, and so as you're walking to check in, they'll call you and say, "Hey, there's a cab out front to take you to another hotel because this hotel has construction, and I know you don't like that." Isn't that crazy? It's like a little guardian angel on your shoulder there. So it can be really useful to have that kind of advocacy. Now, not every travel agent is that wonderful. Not every travel agent will do all of those things, but the good ones will. And there are some good ones out there. If you're just joining the stream, hello, hi, my name is Brandon. Welcome to IBMTV Best of Travel every Tuesday here at 11. I'm happy to host this show. Good company with the IBMTV family. You can visit my website, and you can also check out my YouTube channel where I post weekly travel content to get the best of travel all the time. So we're talking a little bit about travel agents and the pros of using travel agents. So the next kind of thing I want to say when it comes to travel agents is travel agents are usually people who travel a lot. It's their living. They're well versed in travel, which means they're going to know exactly where to send you for the best of whatever it is you're looking for, right? Uh, they've stayed at that hotel. They've wandered around and tried different restaurants and coffee shops. They've taken different excursions. They've taken that cooking class. They've done all of that. So when you say to your travel agent, well, okay, we're going to the X destination, we're going to Denver, and I would love some great sushi restaurants there. Your travel agent is going to be able to pull up a list of the best sushi restaurants there, and they're going to tell you from a personal experience where they've eaten, what they liked, what they ordered, what they didn't like. They're going to be able to send you to some of the best of those local businesses. People from my generation will say, well, you can find that on Yelp or Google reviews or online. And you can. But the travel agent is nice because you don't have to spend all that time surfing through and looking and reading. You just know that you're going to have a good experience there because it's someone who's personally been there before telling you face to face, this is the place to go. And someone who's maybe been to a lot of other restaurants in town and knows which sushi place is going to be best, right? So, I like sushi. Can you tell? Maybe I'll have to have some fish for lunch now. I've talked about sushi so much. Oh, uh, so it is nice to have that personal touch. Someone who can learn your preferences and plan a trip around what you like to do. So you talk to them and they help you plan your trip. Maybe they learn that you really like cooking, so they surprise you with a pasta cooking class in Italy. That's a great perk of having a travel agent, is someone who can do all of those things for you and navigate all of that for you. The other pro to having a travel agent is big now in this pandemic. It's going to become a big thing in the next few years when people start traveling again, especially internationally. They're complex world of visas and passports and border control and immigration. So if you're booking a trip and you need a visa for that trip, they're going to be the ones who will help you apply for the visa. Sometimes they'll even fill out power of attorney and do a lot of it themselves. Sometimes they'll just guide you through the process and help you get that visa you need. So in this world where we're going to have a lot of travel restrictions, because we're going to have a lot of travel restrictions for a while, if you aren't familiar with my YouTube channel, I talk about this a lot. Don't travel right now. We need to stay at home and wear our masks and keep each other safe. But there are a lot of countries out there that are not letting in certain countries, right? So there's lot of countries that have said no Americans because we're doing such a poor job of handling the pandemic. There's a lot of countries that once things start to get better will say you can come, but you have to fill out extra paperwork. You need to take a test to show you don't have a virus. All this kind of stuff is going to be extra complications onto your trip. And that's the last thing you want on vacation, right? You don't want to have all those extra complications. So a perk of the travel agency is they're going to be able to help you navigate which country to go to, which country has a spike in which country will need extra paperwork or tests. They're going to be able to help you arrange all of those things, and that's a huge perk. So there are some perks to having a travel agent. In the second half of the show, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the downsides of travel agents, why maybe you don't want one, why maybe one isn't right for you. And we're going to talk about how I feel about travel agents and kind of what I do. So I'll give you a little insider look into my traveling life. And hopefully, we'll answer some of your questions. Hopefully, by the end of the show, we'll be able to answer the most important question in life. Do you need a travel agent? I know there's bigger things going on now, but it's nice to have just a little hour escape here with me talking about vacations, talking about the trips we used to take and the trips we will take. I want to give you a little inspiration and a little bit of guidance so that way when the pandemic starts to lift, you're ready to get back out there, start putting your tourism dollars back into the economies that need them so desperately, and have a nice, beautiful, stunning vacation at the same time. So, uh, it's nice. It's nice with me here on IBMTV live every Tuesday at 11 a.m. My name is Brandon. If you're just joining, we're about to head to our halfway ad break, but Don't forget to hop on over to my YouTube channel or my website where you can learn more about travel and also tune in every week here on Best of Travel every Tuesday. Stick around for the second half. We're going to talk a little bit more about travel agents and a little bit more about why maybe you don't need one, maybe you do. We'll help you answer that question for you. Travel. It doesn't have to be complicated and it doesn't have to be expensive. When you think of travel, it can be easy to get overwhelmed from pricey airline flights, dates of your hotel, navigating in Ubers and taxis in foreign languages, and currency exchange. It can feel really complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Let me help you break down travel into some easy, simple steps so that way you can take the trip of a lifetime without breaking the bank or stressing yourself out. Travel is more complicated now than ever, so having a guide who's experienced to help you navigate the world of travel can be priceless. And it is priceless. It's free to watch here on IBM TV and free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I'll give you some great travel tips and advice. There's nothing quite like snapping that photo at sunset in Paris, trying great coffee in Colombia, or adventuring around Spain having a great sunny day. Even if you want to travel domestically, from budget travel guides in New Orleans, New York, Paris, and London, to luxury travel guides and everything in between, travel can be so much fun and so much more affordable than you think. I hope you're having a great time watching me here live on IBM TV. I have a ton of fun making Travel Tuesdays Travel with Branden, and I hope you're having a lot of fun watching. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, swing by my YouTube channel. You can find my YouTube channel full of great travel tips, some travel hacks, some food recommendations, city guides, budget travel tips, and so much more. Subscribing on YouTube is free to do, and it helps support me and continue making great travel content for you to see. You can also visit me online at thebrandenscott.com, where you can get even more travel advice, some great links, and some in-depth breakdowns of trips I've taken and trips you can plan. It's a great way to find a little bit of inspiration for your next adventure and some travel tips. I've got cities both domestic and international that you can check out. Find the best places to eat, the best things to see, the best things to do, and how to do it all affordably. Whether you want to stay at Airbnbs or five-star luxury hotels, there are great ways you can do all of those things on a budget. Swing by my YouTube channel, give that big red subscribe button some love, and don't forget to visit thebrandenscott.com for even more travel tips. From great photos in Paris, to awesome food in Spain, to wild adventures in Colombia. If you want to adventure and you want to see more, this is the place to do it. Now back to, I guess, live me on IBM TV. Enjoy Travel Tuesdays and Travel with Branden.
And I ran away out of all this gray. I just went out.
Thanks, recorded me. I love that. I love that I get to throw it back to myself. Isn't that fun? Isn't that great? I just wanted to piggyback on that a little bit. We're talking about travel agents today. If you're just joining the stream, hello, hi, I'm Brandon. Welcome to Best of Travel. And we're talking all about travel agents. But here's the deal. Here's one of the reasons you might think, maybe I don't need a travel agent. You got me. You got a little old me here. I've got a whole YouTube channel and website full of travel guides, city guides, how to get good deals, how to survive airplanes if you get motion sick, everything you want to know. You can find on my YouTube channel and on my website. So maybe you don't need a travel agent because maybe you just love watching all of my YouTube videos and you think, you know what? I got Brandon here. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel, and you'll be just bombarded with wonderful travel content. We'll give you a little bit of inspiration here in this crazy time to have a little bit of peace in yourself and think of the next trip you're going to take. And tagging on to the World Peace Day as well. If you haven't heard, IBMTV is hosting World Peace Day. We are so excited. I'm so excited to be a part of that team and get to have some great programming here on the air. And I think travel and peace, I think, are really interconnected because you can achieve inner peace easily when you're traveling, right? Being maybe on I don't know, a beach somewhere in the Mediterranean, soaking up the sun, not a care in the world. It makes it a nice way to achieve inner peace. But the other nice part is getting to meet people from all sorts of different walks of life, all sorts of different cultures, people with different beliefs than you, people that speak different languages than you, all these sorts of different people. It can help you grow a lot as a person, have a better sense of understanding, caring, kindness, compassion, and empathy for the world around you because you realize we're not all that different. And it's our differences that make us great. So, if you've traveled a lot, you know that that's not as crazy as it sounds. It sounds contradictory. I promise it's not. I promise it's it'll make sense the more you get out there and the more of the world that you see. So don't forget to tune in for that live stream for World Peace Day. And don't forget to come back every Tuesday at 11 to say hi to me. We can chat, we can have a fun time, we can keep it light, give you a little escape from this crazy, crazy world and this crazy, crazy time. It's great. This is the one time I get to talk to other people without wearing a mask. I can sit here and shout at my computer screen all I want and not have to worry about particles and, getting anybody sick. So it's a great time to tune in here every week. We're going to talk a little bit now about some of the cons of travel agents, maybe why you don't want to use one. And then hopefully you can, between the first half when we talked about the pros and the second half when we talk about the cons, hopefully by the end you'll think, I know whether or not a travel agent is right for me. So, answering questions out here. We're just dropping all the knowledge for free here on IBM TV. So let's talk about the cons. So one big con, and maybe this isn't a con for you. I don't know. I don't know your life. Maybe it's not a con for you, but one big con is the challenge of the that's the fun part for me. That's the part I like. That's the part where I like to go watch travel vlogs, online. I like to read reviews. I like to look at different Airbnb experiences when they launched that. That was a great feature. I used Airbnb experiences a lot when I was traveling to find some of those locally hosted experiences. Great way to do it. Um, I like to reach out to my friends because I have a lot of friends who live in different countries around the world and say, hey, what's good near you? Where's a good place to go? Where have you been? I love the planning aspect of it. I think it's a lot of fun. So the downside, of course, of having a travel agent is you don't really do any of that. They kind of plan it for you. They kind of arrange things for you. They'll figure out your hotels. They'll figure out everything for you. And so you can kind of lose some of that. I think it's nice to play the game of travel. I would watch travel videos online and decide I'm going to go here and I'd book a flight. But I book a one-way ticket and then I'd look from there, well, where's a cheap flight from there? Where could I go and spend a few days? And I'd look online and find some great travel inspiration, check out my Instagrams and my YouTubes and all my stuff online to try and plan that. So I really liked that part. I really liked kind of picking and choosing like to do. I also know myself really well when I travel that I like to have some flexibility built in. So I'll book, maybe I'll only book a couple days of activities. I'm spending 4 days in a place. I'll book 2 days of stuff to do. and then I'll leave the other 2 days free. So that way, if I get there and I think, I just want to lay by the pool, I just want to chill on the beach, I can do that. And I don't feel like, oh, I'm missing out on something I already paid for with the travel agent, an experience I already paid for. I can kind of do it at my own pace. I can not book it. Maybe I get there and I kind of am vibing whether or not I want to, go on that sightseeing excursion or whether I want to do something else. So I think it's nice to have that kind of free form flexibility. Plan it, be inspired, find something fun that you can get excited about. For me, it's much easier to get excited about travel when I'm the one planning it, because that means that I can I've thought this all through. I've figured out everything about it, and it's exciting. Whereas I feel like with travel agents, sometimes it can feel like, okay, well, here's your trip, here's when you show up to the airport, and here's your itinerary, and this is what you're going to do, and it's not as exciting for me. So sometimes, I want to do that. I want to be able to take a little nap. I want to be able to sleep, not feel bad about canceling an activity, and then the travel agent's not getting already paid for. It's just like, it's stress. It's just too much stress for me. So that can be a con of using a travel agent. The other con is you might find that you're going to have travel agents that will charge you a fee. Um, People will tell you. Some people will say travel agents that charge upfront fees are bad. You shouldn't use them. Some people will say other things about them. Take it with a grain of salt. Um, but it can be sometimes a little pricier with a travel agent than it can be on your own if you're really good at budget hunting like me. If you've watched all my YouTube videos and read all my blogs and you tune in every week here, you might have enough hacks to be able to get a better deal than your travel agent can. That's possible. Um, the other kind of thing about the travel agency is that I always feel like a con of the travel agent using a travel agent is kind of the lack of, I don't want to say spontaneity, but the lack of options. Sometimes when I go somewhere, I want to do something totally different. And so it's nice if I've booked that trip on my own, I can do that. And what I mean by that is not just like, oh, I don't want to do the cooking class that day. I mean, sometimes I get to a city, maybe I'm in Amsterdam, what, this is really great. I want to spend the extra 3 days. The nice part about you booking it is you can just do that. You can just go, I'm just going to change the dates of my flight. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to cancel it and get an airline credit. Or you can say, I'm really not vibing this city. So I'm just going to go right back to the airport and hop a flight to somewhere else. It gives you a little bit of that flexibility. It makes it kind of nice that you can switch around a little bit that way. So I definitely recommend thinking about what kind of person you are and how much you like planning or don't like planning, to take that into consideration as well. I think that that's a big thing, right? That's a big thing for me anyway. I'm a big fan of the planning aspect of the trip for sure. The other big con I think of travel agents, and using a travel agency, is the dreaded group travel. Bum, bum, bum. I hate group travel. Not a fan. I'll do a whole episode about it, I'm sure, here on IBMTV. I don't like group travel at all. I don't like anything about it. And let me tell you why, and also why you might get looped into this unexpectedly with a travel agent. First, I will say I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate group travel. There's no good way to do it. You're with a bunch of people you don't know, that you aren't locals and can't give you good advice on what to do there. They don't know where the best restaurants or bars are. A lot of them are on their trip the first time seeing the city too. So you can get looped in with that. You get looped in with, you got a whiner, you got a talker, you got a complainer, you got a photo guy. So whenever you're doing anything, you can't, oh, everybody's the group, they want to chat, they want to do this, and you get pulled 10 ways. You don't get to actually do what you want. It just can become a nightmare. Um, I'll do a whole episode on it. It's just, I hate group travel. Ooh. And you might accidentally get swamped into group travel with a travel agent. So even if you're booking what you think is just a you and your friend or you and your partner vacation, even if it's that 10-day Europe trip and it's just for the two of you, you might get there and find out that that same travel agent has actually sent 30 couples there for the same 2 weeks that you're there. And that sightseeing excursion that they've planned is actually like a 30-person coach bus with all of you on it, and not have realized that ahead of time. That happens sometimes. and it can be obnoxious. So that's a good reason to kind of think about maybe you should just do the trip on your own. Um, when it comes to me, I don't use travel agents because I have traveled a lot and I'm really familiar with how to navigate the kind of complicated world of travel. So I'm not really worried. I feel like I'm competent enough that if I land and find out my flight's been canceled or delayed, I can figure out how to navigate that no problemo, and I don't mind doing it. If I go to a hotel and I'm not a fan, I know how to navigate that, and I know how to, find another place that I'd like. I tend to stay at Airbnbs more anyway because you get a whole house sometimes to yourself for the price of a hotel room where you can actually cook and save a little bit of money from the eating out there. And you also get a host who's oftentimes a local, a property owner in the area who is going to have some business connections and may be able to set you up with something. I've um, it's not uncommon to stay at an Airbnb and make friends with the host and have them say, "Well, let me take you out on my boat," and you get a free scuba diving trip or snorkeling trip on their boat. That's just you and them having a great time. So, it, you know, nice to have a local contact that's not trying to sell you something as much, if that makes sense. I prefer travel agent to get an idea of what the best thing is in that area. I prefer to ask the locals, to go in to a restaurant or a bar and say, well, where do you eat? Where do you go when you're off work? Or talk to the front desk people and say, like, what's your favorite thing to do around here? Where's the best sunrise? Because they're going to know they live there. It's their town, it's their city, it's their area. So for me, that information is more valuable than somebody who's just visited multiple times. I want to know where the locals go. So I don't really use travel agents. I feel confident enough in my traveling ability to be able to navigate that without feeling like I need to um, have someone there to have my back at every step and plan things for me. I like being able to do that. And I really do like the planning aspect. I know it sounds nerdy. I mean, obviously, I do a whole show on it, a whole hour a week on it here, and hours and hours and hours on my YouTube channel. So, I talk about it a lot, but I really do like the planning. I like figuring out where to go. I like challenging myself. I'll get to a city like New Orleans, and I made a whole video on my YouTube channel called New Orleans on a Budget, where I think my challenge was to spend less than $20 for a day in New Orleans. Go out and eat and not spend more than 20 bucks. And I don't remember, I think I made it. You'll have to go watch the video. But we had beignets, we had coffee, we had drinks at a bar, we got some fun merchandise. We did it all for $20 or less. So I like that kind of challenge. I like to be able to kind of go out and put myself to the test as a traveler. Now, I think here's the other thing I'm going to say about this, and I'm going to rant a little bit. Sorry about it. If you're just joining the stream, hi, my name's Brandon. Welcome to IBMTV. Best of travel here every Tuesday at 11. Um, I think we're going to see a rebirth of the travel agent market because in a post COVID-19 world, in a post pandemic world, once things start to calm down, hopefully they will in the next few years. I think you're going to see people. Domestic travel is going to be huge. I've said this a lot on this show, but it is domestic travel is going to be big. You're going to see a rebirth of the American road trip for sure. And I'm going to do a whole episode on how to plan the best road trip. And I have a whole playlist on my YouTube channel of domestic city guides. So if you're looking for the best cities to visit in the US or the best cities to, you know, how to do a budget in that city or some ideas, I can do all that for you too. I got all that there too. So check out that playlist as well. But you're going to see a big rebirth, I think, of domestic travel because people are going to feel uncertain about traveling to other countries after this pandemic for a little while, and B, a lot of people have been out of work for a long time with this pandemic. So domestic travel is going to be cheaper, and people are going to veer towards that. But when people do start to do international travel again, I think you're going to see travel agents becoming more popular because it'll be the first time in really well in history that Americans will need a lot of extra paperwork, a lot of visas, a lot of extra documents to go to another country. We're not used to that as Americans, where we're used to being able to take our passport, our all powerful little blue booklet, and uh, go wherever we like. Um, but I think you're going to see a lot of countries say, no, you need a visa. You have to have a, XYZ reason to come. You need to go through the application process. You need to have a COVID test before you come. Whatever those things are, I think you're going to see a lot more of those. And we as Americans are not used to navigating the world of visas. And let me tell you, I'll do a whole episode on visas because I have been stranded in a foreign country on the verge of being deported with one phone to one ear and another phone to one ear, talking to one, the Spanish embassy on one phone and the consulate on another phone, and all of this stuff. I've been there. I've done it. I can tell you, it's a lot. It's a lot to navigate. So I'll do a whole episode on that too. But travel agents can do a lot of that for you. They'll be able to help you through that process. They can tell you which countries you'll need a visa for, which countries you won't, and they'll be able to help you kind of through that process of getting a visa. So you may see that travel agents become really popular again for a little while after the pandemic subsides and people start to take international trips for a while. Of course, I'm kind of your virtual travel agent. Isn't that great? You've got a guide here for free on IBMTV and on YouTube that you can watch lots of content and plan your trip, and you don't have to pay a travel agent at all. I will say, if you do want to say thank you for some of the free knowledge I'm dropping, a great way to do that is to grab some merchandise. That's right. I'm plugging my new Explore line. Just launched about 2 weeks ago. I have bags and t-shirts and cell phone cases. It's a nice personal item you can take on a plane. It's a polyester bag, so it's washable. It's like sturdy straps. It's perfect for your duty-free items on a plane. It's a great beach bag. So you can always say thank you for some of the free knowledge that I drop by picking up some swag. But subscribing to my YouTube channel is free to do. So there you go. I'll be your little virtual travel agent. So those are kind of the pros and cons. I think we went over in the first half a little bit of the pros. They're great to have an advocate for you while you're traveling, someone who can help rearrange your travel if things get chaotic. It's great because sometimes they can get better deals, and because they know their trips really well, so they're going to be able to give you some great recommendations for a wide variety of things. Some of the cons, of course, they take away the fun of planning the trip. That's a big fun thing for me. Sometimes you can find a better deal by booking things on your own and being flexible. I did a whole episode on that. You can watch it back if you want. Being flexible is important. And sometimes they give you a little bit of too much structure and group travel-y kind of deals, and it's not really something I'm about. So there are some pros and there are some cons to using a travel agent. The world of travel agents is not dead. It's definitely shrunk. Maybe try it if you're not experienced in travel. Watch stuff and see how confident you feel. If you feel like you can do this, you can navigate it on your own, go for it. If you feel like you're not sure, well, maybe try using some travel advice or see what you think. You can judge for yourself. That's the nice thing about like a travel agency. So you're not signed in stone with them. You can take a trip with them and then go, yeah, I'm not doing that again, and get a good sense of that. The other kind of downside we talked about in the second half here is that sometimes their knowledge is too broad. Even though they take a trip a lot and they may know a little bit of everything in that area, they don't live there, so they don't have a lot of specific knowledge. And the locals are great for that. It's to have locals who will know exactly what they like to do. So it's up to you ultimately at the end of the day whether or not you use a travel agent. Try it, see what you think. Domestic travel, maybe you don't need a travel agent because you know the country pretty well. You know how to get around. You have Maple A, whatever you want to. But maybe you don't need one for domestic travel as much. Maybe you feel like it's good to have someone who can really be an advocate for you, so you don't have to plan anything, have a stress-free vacation. Maybe that's a big perk if you're one of those people who doesn't like the planning aspect. That's fine too. You don't have planning aspect. It's not for everyone. Travel agents aren't for everyone, but really great for some people. Watching online travel content, like mine, subscribe to the YouTubes like mine. It's a great way to get inspirations and some ideas. Kind of figure out where you want to go. But then maybe you want to travel to help you figure out the specifics for you. To help kind of book it all. Travel insurance is a big thing that travel agents help you with, because especially now, I think people realized when the pandemic got bad and bordered to close, they realized that catastrophic events like that were not covered by travel insurance. A lot of travel insurance ends didn't have it covered. Your travel agent will know that. They'll know what covers, what it doesn't, and I'll can help you pick a good plan. And if you are interested in travel insurance, some people say, I'll just watch a few ads and figure out which insurance plan I will want. I don't mind doing that. So it's up to you. What do you think? Go binge watch my YouTube channel. Maybe find fun travel bloggers you like. Come here every week at 11, and we'll talk a little bit travel. And if at the end when we're starting to look at the opportunities international, we're not there yet, but when we are, uh, you know, think how you feel. You've watched all this stuff now that I've presented to you and go, okay, I think I'm going to use one. I think it's good to have one just for a little extra security blanket. It's never a bad thing. Maybe you'll feel like, yeah, I feel good. Brandon's trained me well. I'm ready to go. I don't need a travel agent. It's totally up to you to decide what you think is best for you. I think for me in the future, I'll be way more open to using a travel agent. I haven't ever wanted to use one before because I like the planning and I'm pretty comfortable with the whole travel and thing. But I think in the future, it'll be nice to have a travel agent, if for nothing else, just to help me know when a good time to go and where a good place to go is. Is the coronavirus sparking there? Is it a big problem? Is the pandemic bad? Do I need extra paperwork? All of those things I think will be really helpful in the future. So I would be much more open to considering it in the future. I think for sure. Anyway, I just wanted to say thanks for watching this stream. I hope you had a great time here on Best of Travel every Tuesday at 11. Tune in for another little chat. We're gonna work out all the best things, everything to make your next trip the most successful, the most fun, the most relaxing, and hopefully eventful in all the good ways. I did want to take a second to say again, I'll reiterate, please don't travel now. Stay at home when you can, wear your mask when you have to go out, and socially distance because I don't know about you, but I'm excited to get back out there. So I need you all to help me get back out there by helping cap the spread, helping do those safety, social distancing, mask wearing guidelines. Stay at home, don't travel now, so we can really travel in the future. And then you have a lot of time to watch all this content. See what I did there? I turned it back around to me because I'm making it about me again. You have a lot of time to watch all these IBM TV shows to be able to plan your best trip in the future. So hopefully, I'll see you next week at 11. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's been fun. It's been real. I'm looking forward to seeing you all on World Peace Day. Don't forget to tune in for that, September 21st, here on IBM TV. My name is Brandon, and this has been the Best of Travel. I will see you next week. Thanks for watching so much.